Hi, Cynthia. Hi. So I'm about to go live on Instagram as well. So I'm gonna be, multitasking. Can you hear me? Can everyone confirm that they can hear me? Can you hear me okay? Perfect. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi, Lorraine. Oh my God, so many people. Hi. Okay, so it's going to be a bit different this time for those of you who've attended my live sessions because normally I'm just on YouTube Live and I'm handling like one screen. But today I'm also doing this on Instagram. So I guess we'll see how it goes. I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay, I'm about to go live on Instagram. So let me turn my phone on. It's time. Oh. It looks like it's not working. Oh my God. Okay, just give me a second. There's so many people going live on Instagram right now that basically it's telling me that I can't go. Oh, a few background noises are echoing. Yeah, that's my the person I live with, because I'm at home. So like everyone else, let me just see, guys, if I can go live right now. Too many people going live on Instagram. I'm gonna have to quickly post a message on Instagram. Hold on. Hi, everyone. Well, I guess I'm not that original because everyone is going live right now on Instagram and I'm not able to go live because there are so many people going live that Instagram basically can't take it. We're going to break Instagram if we continue. So please go on my bio in my links. I'm doing the YouTube live session on there. So you can just join on YouTube live. Please, so you don't miss the session. Really, really sorry, but Instagram won't let me go live right now. Hi, everyone. Hi, Pascaline. I'm so glad that you guys can make it. Having a little technical glitch with the people attending on Instagram because basically Instagram is so full right now of people going live, it's not letting me go live. So I'm going to quickly also type a message to everyone. Thanks for your patience, guys, because this is a little bit different. We're going to start soon. I can't even type. Hang in there, about to start. Okay, sorry. Hi, everyone. Hoping that I can somehow go live on Instagram, but if not, okay, you should be able to comment on YouTube. There's a chat room to the right-hand side of your screen. You can post questions, but I've already gotten a bunch of questions in the past days, so I'm going to address those first. But hi, everyone. I'm really excited that you're all here, and I can recognize people. Leah, who's one of my students, and other people I know who aren't necessarily my students, but I'm super excited to see you. Jazz, hi. Nalini, hi, my friend. Nalini, whom I used to work with in Los Angeles. Amazing. There are people from all over the world. Super excited. I usually have my window open, just for the record. I've got these beautiful trees outside my window, but the sun is gushing in, and basically you would just see my hair all lit up, and that wouldn't really work. So hi, everybody. Basically, I just want to quickly give you like an intro kind of for me, what's going on, and why also I chose to do this session, which was that obviously, we're in a world crisis right now with the coronavirus, and just everyone trying to find new ways to connect and be together and share. And I basically had been planning to launch a whole new generation of classes. And I'd been planning on this since last year, and I was going to launch them in May. But I'm going to have to kind of find a new way, a different way of doing things. So I'm hoping to bring you a series of online sessions and workshops in the next few weeks. And some will be free, like this session, but some will be paid, but at a very fair price, obviously. So basically right now I'm really working on what I can offer, and we'll announce this on Thursday, the 26th this week. So please do stay tuned. I think this is a perfect time for research, and that's what my job is all about, research, and that's what I utilize, and that's what I teach other people to do. It's a perfect time to reflect. We don't really have much of a choice, and we're having a major reality check, and we're on a big learning curve as a society. So I'm going to fast track what I had originally planned to launch in May, and basically start this week and the next. So stay tuned. So it will all be about trend research and what I call the hunt. So because those are the key foundations if you want to really, really learn how to research. It's not just about researching trends. It's a craft. It's knowing how to research for the future is something you can utilize in any aspects of your job, even your life. And so what I did want to say really quickly before we jump right into it is that it's really important for me, in order to get all of those pieces of news to you, that you sign up to get all of the instructions for the classes. So it's obviously just free. All I need is your email. The link is in bio, so you can just sign up to my school. I'll basically add you to a list of people where I'm going to email you the exercises, the activities, the schedule, everything, because my teaching portal isn't on Instagram Live. And even though sometimes I will do pop-ups, live sessions like this, and live Q&A sessions, I the bulk of it I will announce by email. So if you want to be a part of this, just sign up. I'll remind at the end of the session. So is that clear for everybody? Hi, Yolanda. Hi, Laura. Oh my God, I can't believe. Oh, hi, Kara, whom I work with at Epson University. Amazing to see you all here. So basically, I'm going to jump in because I've got some really interesting questions. And I'm going to see if somehow I can go live now, which this Instagram Live thing is not working. It doesn't seem to be working. I think we broke Instagram as a society today, because Instagram has given up. It's just not happening. I'm going to try one more time. Oh, I'm live. Hey, everybody. Hi, I am finally live. I thought that Instagram was broken. They wouldn't let me go live. So here I am. So I'm basically here. If anybody can send me messages, just let me know it's working. So Sorry for those of you who missed, but I was just giving an introduction to everyone who's on YouTube because we were already connected, and I will tell you guys more later. But I'm conscious of everybody's time. For some of you, it's almost the evening. For some of you, it's earlier in the day. But I've been planning some exciting things, and I will tell you more a little bit later. Hey, everybody! So excited to see you all. This is amazing. So I had several questions, and I'll start with one that was sent to me by Pauline, who is a student, and she had a number of really interesting questions. So let me tell you what they were. So first, Pauline was asking me, Pauline from, how did you become a trend forecaster, and how was your work at WGSN? How is your trend forecasting practice different from now compared to when you worked? Well, I can't tell you really how I worked at WGSN. That is kind of information I can't share, but what I can tell you is that it was a great experience. And when I joined WGSN, I was a designer. I was a fashion designer, but I was really ready for a change. It wasn't burnout at all, but it was more that, you know, I just needed a change. The constant churning out of collection after collection, for me, it just felt counterintuitive to, I guess, what I had set out to do as a designer. So I moved to Europe, well, what used to be Europe at the time, London, pre-Brexit. And that allowed me to be closer to my family, but it also allowed me to eventually, get my job at WGSN, which was amazing. And I had already been doing a lot of trend forecasting. As part of my job as a forecaster, you research at the beginning of every season, but then you also rely on trend forecasting services such as WGSN and a number of other companies. And basically, I started working for them in sort of the macro trend area, and then a few years later started my consultancy. And I guess where my work has really evolved is that when I first started as a forecaster, I was still working in forecasting trends and forecasting design trends, from looking at the concepts for the next seasons, but 2 years ahead, to like the materials, the colors, working with amazing people, just as a team forecasting this. And then when I started my consultancy, working on seasonal trends started to feel like counterintuitive. Hi, Maya from Israel. Amazing. Hi, Maya. We have people from all over the world. This is so cool. I just want to wave at everyone, give a virtual wave to everyone on Instagram. So hi, Masha. Amazing to see you. Or see you, Kish. Amazing. Kish, who's a wonderful, Kish Lal, amazing journalist. So excited to see you guys. So I'm just going to continue. So basically, forecasting design trends for me personally started feeling a bit counterintuitive. I mean, I totally respect that the many forecasters that do that, but for me personally, it was the seasonal format. I think forecasting design trends is still relevant. There will always be evolutions in how we design that. I think that's just part of human nature and how we approach fashion. However, in terms of the seasonal format that we have at the moment, I don't think it's sustainable, and I stopped believing in it several years ago and gradually evolved in what we call macro trends, really just looking more at behavioral shifts and cultural shifts. So because of that, I look very much at tech. It can be even philosophy, science. I look a lot at science, art. It's actually, I look at fashion, but I look at a lot of across other industries and skills. Hi from Italy. Hi, Cynthia. Hi, Amy. Hi, everyone. It's so exciting to see you guys. So that's the answer to Pauline's question. Then Pauline asked me the big question, which is, what is my methodology? And just gonna drink. It's hard talking a lot. The methodology that I created is called Hunt, Identify, Gather, and I created it back in 2013. And the little story behind that, hi everyone on Instagram, the little story behind Hunt, Identify, Gather is that back in April 2013, I had left WGSN. I went to this talk by Julie Verhoeven. She was talking about her work at the British Library. And after that, I introduced myself to the person who had organized it. And it turned out it was the head of marketing for the British Library. And when she found out I was a forecaster, she was really curious about interviewing me. And she asked me, how does it work? I want to do an article that describes the fundamentals of forecasting. And at the time, there were very few articles about this. And she basically interviewed me, and I took it very seriously. I was like, oh my God, I must explain everything. And so I even talked to my dad, and I was describing to him over the phone, he's in France, this is how it feels when I research. I feel like I'm hunting. I'm like a hunter-gatherer. And we were trying to come up with a good name for the article. And he said, well, how about like hunting and gathering? I was like, And anyway, we came up with fashion forecasting, trend hunting, and gathering. And based on that, after that, I was also teaching a whole short course at CAS. And I called it, I broke down my methodology into a 3-pronged methodology: Hunt, Identify, Gather. So Hunt is the research part. It's when you research wide, you let yourself be open, you open up your senses, and you just, hoard information, even possibly. You're just looking. And everybody has their own rhythm with that. I'm hunting a little bit every day because that's my job. That's the time. Some people hunt at specific times of the week, specific times of the month, maybe specific times of the year. But hunting is that stage when you're really, really curious. And the hunt is sometimes open. Like me, a lot of times it's open. Of course, I have areas that I'm always looking at, but it's quite open, and allowing it to be open allows the signals also to talk to me and show me and start forming these patterns. But sometimes I'll have a client who has a very specific brief, and then my hunting hat is quite focused. The identify stage is when you've gathered enough signals, you have enough research that you're able to basically start identifying key messages, and you can see clearly patterns of behavior, and you can strengthen your research, go even deeper into it in certain areas if there are things you think you're missing, or if you have more time. And you can basically build the apparatus, the confidence, and all of the knowledge to prepare those key messages for that final stage, which I call gather. And gather is the stage when you're writing the report, you're creating your report, whether it's a video report, whether it's a talk, whether it's a PDF report. Gather is when you've assessed key actionable directions from your research, and you are confident that this is the forecast that you're going to deliver in whatever shape or form. The gather stage is also when you're organizing your visuals, you're creating those layouts, etc. So there's different stages to my methodology, because I can really research, but I can also deliver a final report. So is that clear to everyone? Let me know if you think that's clear. Anybody have questions? Anything else? Because otherwise I'm going to get to the next question. So yeah, Carrie, you're telling me you're already disillusioned fashion designer, wondering what is next. How could I adapt my skills I've built up for this industry or another? someone else has mentioned this, so I'm going to get to you because I think there are synchronicities in some of your questions, and I do notice a lot of designers who come and who join my course because they're feeling like there must be something else. This isn't the right way. This doesn't feel right, and I want to find what the future holds for me, for society. There must be something bigger. When I studied fashion design, I didn't sign up for this kind of thing. I'm hearing that a lot. So hi, Monica Santos. I'm recognizing all these people. It's amazing. So, okay, stay with me. I've got a couple of other things. So, in your work, is there more desk research or more traveling, visiting trade shows? I would say it's probably 50% desk research, 20% traveling, 20% panel talks, conferences, maybe 10% just personal thinking. Also, not, sometimes you just need that reflection time as well. I mean, I'm just giving a broad sense here, but I think but you can't, obviously desk research is good, but desk research is the type of research that is secondary research. It's often research that's already been filtered out for you by other experts. And what's great about the primary research, when you're going to events, when you're going to document and track trends as they come with the experts, is that you're doing that yourself. You're talking. There's more sense of contact directly with the people who are leading those trends. You have access to them. You can ask them questions. You can make connections. You can see conversations bubbling up even when you go to exhibitions and trade shows. There's a sense of excitement. You know, just being at your desk, I don't think. And I know that goes without saying. All of you know that it's just not enough. And you just have to go out in the world, even if it's an exhibition about an ancient form of art at the Natural History Museum. Anywhere your research goes, it doesn't have to be always future facing. It can be also obviously historical research. Another form of research that I love, obviously, are books and podcasts, radio shows. Interviewing is amazing. If you can interview people, also, that I highly recommend that. What inspires me, I think for me, and for those of you who know me, and I'm sure it's the same for you, I'm interested in where our society is going, and I want to play my part in it, and this is what inspires me. I'm inspired by fashion. I've always been amazingly in love with fashion since I was a little girl. I never let my mother dress me from age 2. But above that, for me, it's about our planet, our people, and I want us to go in the right direction. So that's what inspires me. And I feel there's like an ethical responsibility to my work. I don't work as a team. I have a cohort of freelancers that I bring into projects, basically. That's a personal choice. I grew up with a mother who was a business owner, very successful, and she never had a life. She's an amazing woman. I love my mother to pieces. But she herself now at age 81 tells me how much she sacrificed, and that, actually when she was the happiest was when she was teaching prior to starting her business. So I just have a different perspective. I've seen from the inside, from how I grew up personally, what it's like to have a business and struggle with work-life balance. And a long time ago, I just decided that that's not what I wanted. I think also I'm just fiercely independent, and I just want to be untethered, basically, and do it my way and not have to respond to anyone but my clients and my students. So having the ability to just bring in different people in projects is great, because it just allows me to be flexible, to bring different people in, and then, yeah, I'm hoping to be able to continue that. So the next question is really interesting, because Pauline was asking, Pauline had quite a few questions, which was great. So I'm just going to get to everyone else's questions. But she said, do you think it's hard to become a forecaster when you're young? Do you think young trend forecasters could be an opportunity to make the industry more sustainability oriented, since younger generations are more aware and pushing in these topics? I definitely think that it's not about your age, it's about your experience. I think if you're just graduating out of school, you can be an amazingly skilled researcher. You can be plugged in, in a way that maybe I couldn't be plugged in terms of pop culture, the environment, activism, subcultures. I would just soak in everything, I would also want to mentor you in my way. But trend forecasting is a weird one, because it's kind of unregulated, and people who just graduated from school put on their LinkedIn, for example, that they're a trend forecaster, and I would argue that they're more of a trend researcher. And maybe that is controversial for me to say for some people, but I really, really believe that. So basically, sorry, I'm just looking at the chat box, seeing any other questions. I'm going to get to you guys for your questions, amazing ones. I'm just checking them in. So I would say, when you're a fashion designer, you start as an assistant designer, then you get to an associate designer, then you get to be a designer, then a senior designer, then design director, etc. Doesn't really work like that in trend forecasting, but what you will see in many of the agencies is titles such as visual researcher. You will also see titles such as associate trend editor. So these are kind of the steps. So I would say really build up your experience, because in order to really understand how trends work, you do need a couple of years under your belt to see those cycles of trends happening, and that builds up your expert intuition. And it's a fair way also to work in the industry, because obviously if you're really young and calling yourself a trend forecaster, you're probably, I'm not sure how much you're charging, but there has to be kind of a way of learning towards that, I think, because I know that when I first graduated from school, I was really plugged in. I had a sense of what was next, but I couldn't formulate it really, because I hadn't worked with clients. I hadn't worked in industry, really understanding how my industry works. And having been on the inside has really been, I guess, my strength. And you need experience. So even for those who have studied fashion design and want to jump straight into trend forecasting, I would advise you, don't completely dismiss working as a designer for a couple of years and really being on the inside, because that could really be your differentiation point of understanding how the actual garment industry works, rather than being someone who forecasts on the industry but has never really actually worked within a brand. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, and then in terms of trends, the cycle of trends, I'm going to skip to the next session, but my next question is, I would love to hear about how you see the future of craft and the roles of craftsmen in shaping sustainable future and materials. Basically, I think more than ever, especially with what is happening to our planet with climate change, we are realizing that we need to reconnect with these ancient crafts. It's absolutely of the utmost importance that we really reconnect with this. So I would say, I'm just going to prop up this camera a bit so you guys are more in front. I would say that craft is more important than ever when we look at handmaking, when we look at tribal crafts, when we look at uh, indigenous crafts. We see it even in cooking, we see it in food, we see it in other industries, that we are going back to these ancient wisdoms. We're going back to these ancient artisanships because we have been so obsessed with the future and just outdoing ourselves and just running and gulping life, really gulping humanity and gulping alive this planet, that we've forgotten all of these ancient ways and simply being reconnected with nature. And that's what a lot of ancient crafts are about. And I think Japan is an amazing example. For them, artisanship is innovation as well. They've integrated innovation within their artisanship. So I would definitely look to them as a model. My next question is, it's in French, so I just need to translate it inside my head for a second. Yes, I mean, this is a tough one. Another eye on fashion is asking me, after what is happening at the moment as a designer, especially with us being just stalled all of a sudden, it's a complete paradigm shift. Where should I direct myself? I'm not, I'm not here to tell you what to do with your career, but what I can say is that there's more and more research coming out that the coronavirus is being linked with climate change. And I think we all know, and many experts know, that we must absolutely tackle the health of our planet and make it a priority. And we all know that we are very, very ripe for a big systems change in terms of our economic models, our industrial models, and we're realizing that actually what we thought was efficient is not that efficient. So it's a big time of reflection, and it's really scary. We have to unlearn what we are doing. So that's what I would advise to you, another eye on fashion, and some of you who have similar questions. So for example, Carrie McCluskey, who's just telling me, wondering what's next. I'm a disillusioned fashion designer. Just, I would look at, many people are looking at obviously digital fashion, but I don't know that that's necessarily just the solution. It's bigger than that. It's about our habits. So it's not about shifting from one technology to the next and having the same patterns of behavior. It's about changing our habits and looking at the future of work, really. Maybe in the future we will do more seasonal work, the way some Indian tribes do it in America. Maybe parts of the year will be a designer, maybe other parts of the year will be farming, and other parts of the year will be educating. I've met people in tribes in America who work that way. Maybe that's our future. Maybe, Yuval Harari, the writer of Homo Sapiens and Homo Deus, says in one of his videos live, it was a 1-hour video where he spoke with Barry Weiss of the New York Times. I highly recommend you check it out. And he says that we are going to have to learn more, reading about philosophy, reading the great philosophers, reading more about this, because it's not just going to be about wellness and meditating. It's going to be literally about having mental resilience, because in the future we will potentially have multiple careers at the same time. So I would say start with that. Look at systems thinking, look at new economic models, look at the well-being economy, look at limits to growth, models such as degrowth. look at obviously what's happening with digital fashion if you want to stay within the fashion industry, but also look at craft, what could make you really special, upcycling, repair, rental, all these amazing new ideas around clothing. There's many possibilities. Do not feel desperate. Do not feel down, because it's in times like these that amazing things will happen. Change is really scary, but change is really, really good as well. So, I think we know now. I don't think this seasonal model is going to last for very, very much longer. Moda Visionary is saying every season we are flooded with fashion trends. What do you think the future of trend forecasting will be? I think there will always be forecasting of the future, and I have my views on this, which literally we could talk about in the next live session, because otherwise we'll never be able to talk. But I have my views on time, and I think the future of trend forecasting relies on our notion of time, and that's a big conversation that I've been actually researching. So I will talk about this maybe another time. But Blanca, you said, thank you, Blanca, one of my dear students that I got to meet in person. It was so nice to meet you. You said, I'm so excited about the live session. Awesome. You're using this time to dive in deep into the content of the course, not only the lessons themselves, but also trying to check it out, every article and reference you give. In my courses, I give a ton of references and articles to give this context of what I'm talking about, and to give areas where you can research. And so Blanca, you also said that when you're looking at the live session, rewatching them, and one thing I talk about in the course is it's in my last module, in module 6, is what's next. What's next once you've done a report. And because I know that that's something that I have to deal with as well. And I talk about the fact that when you're doing research, you're researching in so many areas that basically, you can't show everything. Otherwise, you would have a report that's the size of 1 terabyte. And you end up having all these amazing references that you are not able to necessarily put in the report, not because they were bad, but because you have to edit. And that's something I cover in my course, is how do you edit? That's a big challenge when you're a forecaster, especially someone like myself. I don't know about you. Anybody wave, say hi if you're like me and you're super curious about everything. But for me, I find it very hard to edit. So, and it's a skill I've had to develop really over years, actually. So basically, I'm losing my train of thought here. What I was saying is that, yes, Emily, hi. So what am I, gosh, I lost my train of thought. I can't believe it. So yes, with all your additional research, there are things you can do. Share them with the world, share them on Instagram. If you feel confident enough, write about them, write a blog post, maybe pitch an article, these types of things. Don't let your content go to waste. Create also an archive of your research, because I've had instances where I might have something in the background that's been kind of hovering, and I haven't been quite able to put it in a report, and then bam, I'm just ready, and maybe I've had it for a year, because it's all about timing. And sometimes some things come up and they're just too early. You might be ready for them, but maybe your client isn't ready, and you've got to know when the timing is right. I mean, I've designed stuff when I was a fashion designer that was just way too early. That's not good either. You kind of sometimes have to wait for the right time. So the trouble with that, and Blanca raised a good point, is how I guess, are you specialized? Are you experienced enough to publish these findings? Well, yeah, that's a good point. I guess, your tone of voice is going to be key. Don't pretend to be someone you're not. If you don't have the experience, many, many years of forecasting yet, don't talk about the trend in a way that is not quite in line with who you are. Always be at one with who you are. If you're not really sure, just say, I saw this, I think it's amazing and really interesting. You build up the confidence as you go. And Blanca also said, she said, I've always been good at researching, analyzing, and getting conclusions for a client. But she's not sure how to produce that content or let people know about it when no one, but herself is commissioned. Yes, okay, so you're the only one creating that report, but you're garnering these findings from multiple sources. So you're still, as long as you're doing your correct cross triangulation and finding, all this trend repeating and creating this like pattern of behavior that totally makes sense, then normally you should be able to share it confidently. And if you're not and you feel you need more time, just dig more, continue the hunt, continue researching to find additional signals. At this stage, I guess you'd be in the identify stage, but yes, and that's the whole point. In the identify stage, maybe you find areas of research that you think you have a clear message, but you need more time to research it. So is that clear with everyone? Say hi if you I'm just I've got like, I'm just going, I'm still kind of learning how to where am I? I'm just doing something on Instagram. What fashion books do you recommend? Octavia. Oh my God, I have such a big reading list. Listen, Octavia, and anyone else who wants to know, you need to go into my bio and link, because basically in my bio is my link. I think it's the second link down that says join my course. This is where I'm going to send resources. This is where I'm going to share things. So please do sign up for that. I'm going to open my, so everybody can see a little bit of the light outside, the sun in London. Well, no, not the sun, the sunset. Okay, so that said, I'm going to step into everybody else's questions because I've got a ton of questions on YouTube. Amazing. We've got like almost 80 people watching, 73 people. How do you organize your thoughts and research? I find myself overwhelmed when I think and see and read. Yes, that's really common, and I go through that as well. So I think that's a natural process, and I just have a routine. I research a little bit every day. Obviously, I've got my client work plus my teaching stuff. So I can't research all the time, but I allow time for it every day. And I know which times of day are good for research. For me, the morning is really good. I also feel like the morning is really good for writing. And then when I've had a couple of days of just researching, I know that basically my brain is fried. So, you've got to take a break. You've got to go out. You've got to do other things. And you just got to create that routine and know yourself. Everybody's a little bit different, but it's normal to feel overwhelmed, especially if you're on a screen all the time. It's just not a natural thing. So, and reading. So the way also to feel less overwhelmed is to maybe organize that research, find tools to organize it. I know I use Feedly. Some people use Pinterest. Some people use a bunch of different Google Docs. People use different ways. Maybe start, writing about it, just allowing some breathing space between reading, ingesting. Another thing that I find relaxes me is listening to people speak. So it's not always about reading. And, like watching a really, really good teenage romantic comedy in the evening. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I sometimes I just can't watch another documentary in the evening. It's okay to have to switch off, because also when you research, you're exposed to a lot of serious things that are going on in the world. And for me, there have been times where it's made me feel like, oh God, oh my God, where is this world going? And you need that, that break, basically. Um, so, what is the best place to get this experience in terms of trend forecasting? For me, it was in industry. Basically, I studied design, and within design, you are taught how to research. So we can get into that at a different time, because that's a huge conversation. But obviously, there are degrees also now that teach trend forecasting. There are short courses. I do a short course at the Institute of Design in Barcelona. Little shout out if you want to come join this summer. It's run by an amazing woman called Christina Bifano. I would look her up on Instagram, and she does this 5-week short course at the Institute of Design. She brings a number of experts, and I do basically the last week of the course with her. If you're hearing meow, that's my cat, Jeannie. For those who know her, Jeannie's right here. She's a very old, senior, senile cat with a very strange meow. That's my cat. But basically, there are a number of courses. Polymoto does one, Central St. Martin's, and if you have experience in editorial work, that can help as well. Journalistic experience. Design, I think, is a really good place if you're a fashion designer. I'm not sure what your line of work is. Chelsea Tia gave me that question. What is your biggest piece of advice for someone who is at that point where they would like to start acquiring clients to forecast for? That's a question from Gabriella Mastronardo. Hi. Listen, I think I would kind of need to know a little bit more about what stage you're at in terms of your experience. So maybe just message me, send me an email, hello@geraldineworry.com, and we can talk. Marcela Guzman, you were saying you feel the same as Roxana. You read a lot, but you have trouble organizing the ideas. This is the hardest part. This is the hardest part about trend forecasting, is creating the links. But you have to kind of sit with it. It will start to make sense. What's really, really important is that you look at what's happening in different industries, and you start to see the links. An example will come up soon, but it's called cross-triangulation. And if you look, for example, at artificial intelligence, that's not a trend in itself. But if you look at, for example, the growth of augmented reality within design, we're seeing that as well within other industries. And that's a very basic example I'm giving, but that already is showing you a link. We also see that in terms of aesthetics. We see it. There's a number of ways of creating the links, and it is a lot of research, and it is a lot of basically simmering it down and editing it. And that's something I go over in my course on how to edit to key messages. Carrie, you were talking about loving the idea of craft rather than shortcuts, savings to consume more. Ideally, is there a way to connect the ancient with the future? Absolutely. We only have to look at history to understand the future very often. And if history is any signal, we will get out of this crisis, and it will be a new normal. But we will get out of it at some stage. We always have as a society. So we will just look at history, look at previous crises, huge crises. We have gotten out of it. The Spanish flu, that was a much more serious pandemic. We got out of it. And at the time, we didn't even have the same technologies. So we must understand that history repeats itself, and trend cycles are part of that history cycle that we find within history. But what we can do is bend the arc of history. This is something that President Obama used to say. We can, and this is something I think Martin Luther King said as well. We can bend the arc of history. We can shape the future. How do you organize your research archive? Time, context, industry. There's different ways of doing that. Some people do them by topic. Some people do them by industry. This is something I cover in my course as well. It really depends, because there are different types of forecasters. Hi, Jeannie. Do you want to chime into the course right now? Want to chime into the live session? Sorry, my cat. Some forecasters are more based on industry and facts around industry. Some forecasters are more looking at storytelling. I tend to look more at things probably in a storytelling kind of way. So I don't necessarily look at always necessarily. I have some folders by industry, but I also have some folders by themes. So, Blanca, I'm just looking at more. Kara's asking, thank you for those insightful answers. Thanks, Kara. Where can we sign up to hear on your next live stream? So, everyone, please sign up. Obviously, we're connected on Instagram. You can always find me on Instagram, but the good stuff, the really good stuff, and the more detailed stuff with all the information, I basically do through my newsletter. So by going to my link in bio, you'll see it's the second link if you go on Linktree, and it says join my school. This is adding you to a specific mailing list I have for people who are interested in my live sessions, anything related to this, what I'm teaching. You will then be added to that list, and I will send you all the information on my next live sessions. I will also be sending you exercises when my next class is going live, because as I explained, I'm going to go live with something really soon. So please do sign up so that you get the full Monty there. It will, I'll always be on social media, but I really, to keep track of everyone who is really interested, the core of the people interested, I do that with also my newsletter. Nalini, can you share what your daily trend research forecasting work routine looks like? Basically, in the morning, I have a couple of newsletters that I worship. I love the Quartz newsletter. I love Medium. I love the New York Times. I love people.com as well. Like, give it all to me. Like lo-fi, hi-fi, I have a couple of podcasts I love, like Hidden Brain, the recent protein one that I love. I'd have to open my iTunes right now to give you an idea, but there's this number of podcasts. I love Work Life by Adam Grant. It's really random podcast. There's another one that I recently started listening to that's actually about religion. And it's all about wisdoms, and they're really short pieces. I'm just opening my iTunes to give you a list. So I'll come back to it. I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily like a good thing right now to say exactly what's going to happen exactly by what date. And actually, there's a number of futurists that say that we shouldn't necessarily predict by specific years, that we should predict in like a scope of time that is a bit broader. But what I would say is that like maybe a decade or something, I think things are going to change. Not necessarily in this, that some new aesthetics are going to emerge out of this, I assume. That would make sense in the normal cycle of things. But what I definitely think is about to change is the way we deliver fashion collections, our catwalk shows, all of that, how much we travel, everything. It's all going about to really, really change, I think. So that's going to affect also the delivery of the seasons and the collections. Um, Cynthia is saying, wondering who is enrolled in Geraldine's school. So Cynthia is enrolled. Anyone who's enrolled in my school, she wants to connect. She's an awesome woman for working in New Orleans. Cynthia, I'll let you introduce yourself on the Trello board. Anyone who's not enrolled in my school, we basically have a private Trello board where we share resources, what's happening, any technical questions about the course. People introduce themselves. It's an opportunity for them to network, etc. Leah, one of my dear students from Epsom that I tutor, is asking what is the name of the place where you organize the research. And I personally worship Feedly. I highly recommend it. So I definitely think you guys should try Feedly. I'm going to just check. Rochelle on Instagram asks, is it possible to be a trend forecaster in another industry than our design? Absolutely. There are forecasters, obviously in finance. There are forecasters in food. There are forecasters in travel, hospitality. There are forecasters who are not necessarily in the design industry. Absolutely. I am Liz Bellies. Thanks. I'm really hoping you guys are enjoying this session. Emily Huggins, one of my very first interns when I started my consultancy. I love you, Emily. She says, I feel, and she also freelances for me, Emily Huggins, wonderful forecaster who is great also at forecasting fashion trends. Just a shout out for Emily if anyone's looking for someone really good who's a freelancer. So Emily says, she thinks the pandemic presents us with an opportunity to rethink the cycle of commercial fashion trends. I really think that's it. I think this is a reality check for the fashion industry because we've depended so much on the globalization of our shows, our collections, our content. Things are about to really, really change, and we're going to see really a fast track of digital deliveries, basically. And also, I'm hoping a fast track of going back to more local manufacturing. But we will need to also offset that with all the people that we've relied on in manufacturing our clothing, whether they're in Bangladesh, China, Vietnam. All these factories are clothing, and we need to help them transition as well. So if this crisis is teaching us something, is that yes, we need to have resources close to us on a local level, but we need to all work together. And if we are in this crisis today, is that because countries have not been properly collaborating on the due process in fighting this virus. So we're going to still have to work globally as a society in terms of helping those countries also who maybe are not going to have the same amount of orders in the fashion industry. So Amy Armitage is telling me my cat wants attention. You are spot on. This is what she wants. She's looking at me right now. She wants food. I think it's time to go probably pretty soon. And you guys probably are like, okay, it's been going on for an hour. We need to go do our thing. But can you spell the name of the tool you just mentioned, Andre? It's called Feedly. F as in Frank, E, D as in David, L as in Larry, Y. Really, really good tool. And it's a tool that Christina Befano from IED first introduced to me, because prior to that, I was using other tools such as Excel and also Pinterest. Really love Feedly. There's other ways you can organize your research. I also use Trello. Sorry, I also use Trello, Trello. So, can you say more about the best sources for research? That's a question I get a lot, and honestly, um, I can't really. I think we're going to have to save this question for maybe a bit later. You need to have your trusted sources, obviously, amazing institutions, media institutions. You have to be careful to make sure you go to the scientists, the data experts, the research centers, but you also have to go to those innovators who are in the subcultures, those things that are bubbling up, that are on the edge. So it's really a combination of going to those well-established sources, museums, etc., but also just getting what's on the edge, because often those innovators, those signals that are really pushing the envelope, that are disrupting, are signaling the future as well. Just trying to go through, Maya. Do you think, Maya, I think I have possibly addressed everyone's questions. I think we're going to wrap it up. I'm just going to say finally, again, please go to my link because, like I said at the very beginning of the session, and I'm just going to repeat for those who missed, I had been planning on launching a whole new generation of courses in May, and so I'm having to change my game plan a bit. And so I'm hoping to bring you a series of online sessions and workshops, and some of them will be free, like today, sort of like a Q&A session, and some of them will be paid, but they'll be priced fairly. And because I just think this is a really, really good time to research and reflect. And I know, like, personally, a lot of my work I don't publish because it's with clients, it's at panel talks, and I was talking about supply scarcity to my clients years ago. And last year I talked a lot about degrowth and how we were about to crack under the pressure of our population and our industrialization, and you know, these are things that many experts have predicted, and I feel I want to share those tools the best way that I can, because I think everyone, even if you're not ever intending on becoming a forecaster, should be really curious about the direction our society is taking. So, because information is power, knowledge is power, and we have to think outside the box. And so, if anything, that I hope you can take away also by those live sessions that we will do together is to research a lot, but also really learn how to think also for yourself, think critically, because my course is not about spoon feeding you everything and telling you exactly what you should do. My course is to help you get in touch with your inner futurist, and my course is really helping you get in touch with your own critical thinking about what is happening in your industry, in society, and maybe also it will help you trigger things for your own personal growth. So again, make sure you sign up, link in bio to my course so that I can email you everything. I'll start rolling out emails on the 26th, this Thursday. So anyone who signed up will have access to my my platform. And I need your emails also because of that, because those courses, the bulk of them will be on the platform I use, which is Teachable. So I think that wraps it up. But everybody, thank you so much for attending. It's been really interesting, and yeah, thank you. Longer webinar on this topic about sources. Yes. I'm going to, you know, this is the thing. I can share all the sources that I want with you, but actually would probably take days. The thing about the sources, these are lists that I have been growing for years. So what I would almost rather do is share with you the way that you grow that list and the way that you create your library of research, because it's very personal to everyone. So of course I can share with you amazing links, but I think it would be better to, as they say, teach a man how to fish, teach a woman how to fish, and she will fish forever. I think that's what I would love to do. So please stay tuned. Thank you, everyone. Love sharing with you from all over the world. And next time, I've got some surprises, because next time maybe we'll do an exercise, we'll do a live session, and I really, really hope to grow this. And I would really hope also for next time to invite some of you to be able to also be on the video. So for this, I'm looking into Zoom and other technologies. So just bear with me, sign up for those of you who are not, so that you get all the links, all the news. Okay? Bye, everyone. Thank you so much. Sorry if I missed anybody's questions. I don't think I did, but thank you. Thank you so much. And stay safe. Follow all the precautions. Eat well, sleep well, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye. I'm just looking at, thanks, everyone. I'm going to go pay attention to my cat now. Bye.